Okay, so you sent over some pretty interesting stuff about film casting.
Yeah.
It's from the evolution of casting thing, embracing new actors and interpretations and timeless stories.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just jumps right into this whole debate about recasting these iconic roles.
Yeah.
They even use a pretty controversial example with Papa Esidu, a black actor, as Snape.
Oh, wow.
So what is it about this source? What are they saying? Why should we embrace these new interpretations of characters that we already love?
Well, the document kind of starts out by reminding us that fictional characters, they're meant to, they transcend time, unlike the actors who play them.
Yeah.
Like, think about Hamlet over the centuries.
Right.
So many actors.
Yeah.
And they all bring something unique. They
Yeah.
add to that legacy.
Okay, so are they saying that Alan Rickman's portrayal of Snape shouldn't define the character forever?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
The source acknowledges Rickman's performance, obviously. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But Snape existed long before that in the books, just like Hamlet.
Right.
And so it can be reinterpreted.
So they're suggesting that each new actor can actually bring something new, not just try to replicate
Right.
what came before.
The document says that each actor has their own unique experiences and brings their own insights.
Yeah.
And in the case of Papa Esidu, he's known for these complex, often conflicted characters.
Okay, so how would that even translate to Snape? What could he bring? What would be different from Rickman?
Oh, that's fascinating to think about.
Yeah.
He's known for bringing a certain vulnerability, so maybe he'd explore Snape's struggles
Oh, okay.
with a new depth we haven't seen.
Right.
And we might understand his motivations better, more nuanced.
So instead of replacing Rickman, it's more like he could build on what's already there.
Yeah.
Add another layer of complexity.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
expanding, not erasing. Right.
Right.
The source argues that thoughtful recasting can actually enrich a character's legacy.
But, I have to ask, the document really centers on Snape, and he's a character that people have super strong feelings about,
Yeah.
especially regarding his appearance.
Mm-hmm.
So how does the source address that? The pushback of casting a black actor?
Well, it acknowledges those challenges of recasting,
Yeah.
especially when fans, feel connected
Right.
to an actor's portrayal. Some might argue that, changing how a character looks, especially when it wasn't defined in the book,
Right.
it could damage the character.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
What's the counter argument then? Why shouldn't that be a barrier?
I think it boils down to what really defines Snape's character. Is it his race, or is it his internal struggles,
Right.
his love, his redemption, his relationships, all these deeper elements?
Yeah.
The source argues those have nothing to do with race.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
So recasting shouldn't be about surface level things.
Yeah.
But capturing what's essential about them, what
Yeah.
makes them compelling.
Right. So if those are there, why should race be a limiting factor?
Yeah. Right. It wasn't really, I guess, super tied to who he was.
Yeah.
So by focusing more on the internal than the external,
Right.
the source is saying we can open up these roles to a wider range of actors
Yes.
and maybe even discover new depths to those characters
Yeah, absolutely.
that we might have missed.
That's the crux of the argument.
Okay.
Not erasing or disrespecting.
Right.
Expanding.
Yeah.
Making it more relatable.
That relatability is interesting.
Yeah.
How do they connect that to representation?
Well, it emphasizes that with more diverse casting, a wider range of people can see themselves reflected.
Right.
It makes those stories more inclusive.
Right. Yeah.
It resonates with audiences who maybe didn't feel represented before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just some theoretical thing about what a character could be.
Right.
It's making the stories feel more, I guess, relevant and accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about making sure the stories continue to resonate with each generation, allowing people from different backgrounds to connect on a deeper level.
Now, all this talk about new interpretations and challenging traditional casting
Right.
feels pretty radical
Yeah.
compared to how things have been done.
Yeah.
So how does the source address that? That natural resistance to change, especially with nostalgia and stuff.
Well, the document brings up a good point about change being inevitable, especially with art and storytelling. It reminds us that what might feel radical to one generation could be totally commonplace to the next.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So how we see these characters and who can play them is constantly evolving.
Yeah, think about the 1940s.
Okay.
Audiences probably couldn't imagine anyone but Humphrey Bogart in those iconic roles.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
today, we appreciate Bogart.
Yeah.
But we can also see those roles played by actors from, all kinds of backgrounds.
Yeah. It's like our idea of who can play these characters just broadens over time.
Exactly.
Allows for those new perspectives to come out.
And the source argues that we shouldn't fear that, but embrace it.
Yeah.
It's not about erasing the past.
Right.
It's about letting those stories grow and evolve with us.
So instead of clinging to this fixed idea of who they have to be, we should be open to new actors bringing something fresh and new.
Yeah. That's the key.
Okay.
Change is not only inevitable, but it can breathe new life into the stories and make sure they stay relevant for generations.
Okay, so we've got the source's core argument. Recasting can keep stories vibrant.
Yeah.
But do they have any specific examples besides Snape to illustrate this point?
Absolutely. They go into several other examples.
Okay.
Both successful and unsuccessful.
Right.
Highlighting those nuances.
All right, so let's move beyond like the theoretical and get into the specifics. What are some of those examples?
One of the most compelling is Batman.
Okay.
He's been portrayed by a ton of actors over the decades, each bringing their own unique spin.
Okay, Batman, he's definitely an interesting one to look at.
Yeah.
But before we get into that,
let's
take a quick step back and look at the bigger picture.
When you look at a character like Batman, recast so many times, it shows how audience perception can shift. At first, there's that resistance. That the new actor can't possibly,
live up
to the previous one. But then...
what happens? What shifts?
If the new actor brings something compelling, the audience sees the character in a new light.
Okay.
They might even appreciate aspects they hadn't noticed before.
Right.
It's not replacing, it's adding to that legacy.
So each new Batman builds on the foundation of the ones before.
Exactly.
Creating this like richer, multifaceted character.
The source argues that's essential to keep them relevant for new viewers.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If we clung to the past, they'd become stagnant relics.
Right. It's like if we only ever saw Bogart as Rick Blaine, we might miss out on what other actors could bring.
Yeah, exactly.
And who knows, those new interpretations could spark different conversations.
Right.
Or resonate in ways the original never could.
Recasting opens up new avenues to explore their psyche, motivations, relationships, even challenge assumptions about their essence.
I'm starting to see how recasting, when it's done thoughtfully, can be more than just a practical thing.
Right.
It can be creative.
Yeah.
A way to breathe life into familiar stories.
That's a key point.
Okay.
It's recognizing that these iconic characters have a life beyond any single actor.
Right.
They can evolve, adapt, reflect the changing world.
Okay, so we talked about successful recasting, but the document also mentions when it didn't work.
Right.
What went wrong there?
There's a balance. You have to honor the essence, but also give the new actor space.
Yeah.
One example is this beloved sci-fi character.
Okay.
Talented actor, but the direction they took it strayed too far.
Okay.
Felt like a different character.
Oh, wow.
Alienated the audience.
So it's not enough to just cast a talented actor.
Right.
The creative vision has to align, at least somewhat.
The source argues that successful recasting involves looking at what makes them iconic.
Yeah.
Understanding those core traits, motivations, relationships.
Right.
Those should stay consistent.
Right.
Even as the portrayal evolves.
So I'm seeing the nuance.
Yeah.
It's not just any actor can play any role.
Right.
There's a responsibility to the character and the audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The source isn't saying recast recklessly. It's about thoughtful reinterpretation.
Okay.
Finding actors who bring something new.
Yeah.
But still honor the core.
It's finding that sweet spot between honoring the past and the future.
Right.
Recognizing they're living, breathing entities.
Exactly.
Capable of evolving and surprising us.
It's not a threat. It's an opportunity to keep them vital, relevant, engaging for all generations.
Now, you mentioned recasting can make stories more inclusive.
Yeah.
I'd love to explore that more.
Okay.
How can it do that?
Well, it challenges the idea that certain roles can only be played by certain people.
Okay.
By race, gender, background.
Yeah.
Opening up those roles creates a more inclusive world on screen.
Right.
Reflecting the real world.
So it's expanding the possibility.
Yeah.
Showing they're not limited by those definitions or stereotypes.
Challenging our own ideas about who can play them.
Right.
Imagine a classic character, traditionally white, played by an actor of color.
Yeah.
Or a superhero, usually male, played by a woman.
That could be powerful.
Yeah.
Sending the message that these stories are for everyone. That anyone can see themselves.
And it's not just on screen.
Right.
It creates opportunities behind the camera, too.
Oh, yeah.
Writers, directors, producers from diverse backgrounds.
So it's a more equitable landscape.
Yeah.
Both in front of and behind the camera.
Exactly.
Allowing more voices to be heard, more stories to be told.
The source says this is essential for the future of storytelling.
Yep.
If we want them to resonate.
Yeah.
They need to reflect the full human experience, not just a narrow slice.
Diversity isn't just a box to check.
Right.
It's a source of strength, creativity, innovation.
When we embrace it, we enrich the stories.
Yeah.
We expand their potential.
Right.
And create a more vibrant world.
Okay, so all this talk about challenging conventions and new interpretations makes you wonder, are there any limits to recasting?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
The source grapples with that. It advocates for a more open approach, but acknowledges there are considerations.
Okay, what are those?
One is understanding the context, cultural, historical. Like if a story is rooted in a specific culture or time, you have to think about how recasting affects that.
So it's not just randomly swapping actors.
Right.
There needs to be thought behind it.
It's recognizing that recasting is a powerful tool, but it has to be used carefully.
Yeah.
There's a balance between honoring the original intent and allowing for new interpretations.
Okay, I'm hearing a lot of nuance.
Yeah.
It's not blindly embracing everything. It's about being thoughtful and sensitive.
The source says recasting should enhance the story.
Okay.
Make it relatable, relevant, and create a more inclusive world on screen.
Right.
It's not erasing, it's building, letting them evolve and resonate.
Now, this has been theoretical and analytical.
Yeah.
Unpacking arguments, nuances, pros and cons. But let's tap into our own creativity.
I like
Yeah. Let's pretend we're casting directors.
Okay.
If we could reimagine roles unbound by norms, what are some choices that could bring new life?
That's a great challenge.
Yeah.
Putting these ideas into practice.
Right.
Thinking outside the box.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
How about Sherlock Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So many portrayals.
Yeah.
Always fascinating to see different takes. He has such a strong foundation.
Right.
We can really play with recasting.
Okay.
Push boundaries, explore unexpected choices.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Break the mold. Who's a truly unexpected Sherlock?
What if we cast... Okay, hear me out.
Yeah.
Awkwafina.
Awkwafina.
Yeah.
As Sherlock.
As Sherlock Holmes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is a bold choice.
Right.
I love it.
She's got that wit, intelligence, charisma.
Yeah.
It could really shine.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Her energy, comedic timing, bringing this, like, mischievous quality.
It wouldn't be the traditional brooding Sherlock.
Right.
More playful, dynamic.
Yeah.
Maybe even subversive.
And her background, music and comedy, could add a whole new layer.
Right.
Imagine her using observation to crack a musical code.
Oh, wow.
Or using humor to disarm suspects.
Oh.
It challenges what a genius detective can be.
Exactly.
A Sherlock for a new generation. Embracing diversity, wit,
right.
playful.
That's on my mind.
Awkwafina as Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Okay.
What other unexpected choices can we come up with?
Let's keep going. We're just getting started.
Right.
How about another iconic character?
Okay.
Someone who needs a reimagining.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go fantasy and adventure.
All right.
King Arthur.
King Arthur. Oh, wow.
Oh.
He's such a symbol, chivalry, courage, leadership.
But he's often portrayed as stoic.
Right.
Almost mythical. And I think that's the opportunity.
Okay.
What if we reimagine him?
Someone who challenges those traditional ideas of leadership.
Okay.
What if we cast someone with a different energy?
Okay. I'm hooked.
Okay.
Hit me with it.
Dev Patel.
Dev Patel.
As King Arthur.
As King Arthur.
Yeah.
Wow, I never saw that coming.
Right.
But I love it.
Think about the depth and complexity.
Yeah.
He can handle drama and action.
Right.
He's got this quiet intensity. Redefine King Arthur.
Instead of the, like, imposing, battle-hardened king.
Yeah.
We'd get someone more thoughtful, introspective.
Exactly.
Maybe even vulnerable.
And imagine him with the Knights of the Round Table.
Oh, yeah.
Youthful energy, idealism.
Right.
But still embodying honor, justice, leadership.
King Arthur for a new generation.
Yeah.
Challenging stereotypes. A more nuanced, relatable vision of leadership.
It would remind us that true strength isn't just force. It's compassion, empathy, listening.
Okay, you've convinced me.
Yeah.
Dev Patel as King Arthur. It's unexpected, thought-provoking, potentially brilliant.
And that's what's exciting about this whole conversation.
Right.
We're seeing the possibilities of recasting.
Yeah.
It can breathe new life into these characters, challenge assumptions, make the stories more powerful and relevant.
It's like breaking free from tradition.
Yeah.
Letting them evolve and reflect the changing world. And we're not just reimagining characters, we're reimagining storytelling itself.
Now, we've had fun with hypotheticals.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about something more philosophical.
Okay.
We've talked about change, evolution, challenging the status quo.
Yeah.
But is there a risk that, you know, in pursuing novelty, we lose sight of what made them compelling in the first place?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It gets to the heart of this. There's always tension between preserving the past and embracing the future.
So how do we navigate that? How do we not, like, throw the baby out with the bathwater?
I think it's about understanding that recasting isn't erasing the past, it's building on it.
Okay.
Recognizing their rich history.
Right.
A legacy to respect.
So it's not starting over.
Right.
It's honoring what's there, but adding our own layer.
It's like building a house.
Okay.
You don't demolish the foundation every time you change something.
Right.
You build on it, add rooms, remodel, but you keep the integrity of the design.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
You can experiment, but be mindful of what makes them enduring.
Right. Understand what makes them tick, their drives, what makes them relatable.
Yeah.
Those should stay consistent.
So it's that balance, innovation and tradition, honoring the past, embracing the future.
Recognizing their living things.
Right.
Evolving, surprising us.
Viewing it not as a threat,
Yeah.
but as an opportunity
Exactly.
to keep them vital and engaging.
For all generations.
Now, throughout this, we've focused on the theoretical and analytical, but I think it's time to talk to the listener directly.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is about helping you engage with these ideas.
So what are your thoughts on recasting?
Yeah. Do you embrace it? Resist it?
Are there examples that stand out to you?
Good or bad?
What are your favorite reimagined characters?
Yeah.
What casting choices just didn't work?
Right.
Share your thoughts with us.
On social media.
Or start a conversation with your friends.
Yeah.
Because the future of these stories is shaped by the conversations we have.
It's about recognizing that they belong to all of us.
Yeah.
And our engagement keeps them alive.
So let's keep talking.
Yeah.
Challenge each other to think critically.
How about recasting?
Appreciate the potential and the pitfalls.
Right.
And keep them vibrant and relevant.
For generations to come.
And as we've been talking about recasting, I've noticed something.
Oh, yeah.
We often talk about diversity, like in terms of race and gender and background.
Right.
But what about age?
Oh, that's interesting. You're right. It's often overlooked.
It's like there's this unspoken rule that once actors hit a certain age, their options just shrink.
Yeah. Especially for women.
Yeah, especially women.
It's like they become grandmothers or mentors.
Right. So what if we challenge that?
Okay.
What if we reimagine roles that are usually for younger actors, but with older actors in mind?
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
It could lead to some fascinating interpretations.
Right.
Think about the depth and experience an older actor could bring to a role usually associated with youth.
Like, what if we cast Helen Mirren as a superhero?
Helen Mirren as a superhero. I love it.
Right.
She would be amazing.
She have the gravitas, the physicality, the acting chops.
She could totally pull it off.
And it would be so cool to see a superhero who's not just about strength,
Yeah.
but also wisdom, experience, resilience.
It would really challenge our ideas of what a superhero can be.
Yeah.
A powerful statement about aging, defying expectations. Strength comes in many forms.
We've been so focused on finding the next young star
Right.
that we've forgotten about the talent and experience
Yeah,
that
exactly.
older actors have.
There are so many stories we could tell.
Really?
Second chances, late in life transformations. The power of wisdom.
It's about recognizing that life doesn't end at a certain age.
Right.
There's so much more to explore.
And older actors can bring that depth
to
those stories.
We need to see more of that on screen.
I agree.
Challenge that ageism in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Embrace the full range of human experience.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned earlier that there's a responsibility with recasting, balancing innovation with honoring the character's legacy.
Right.
How do we even know when we've got that balance right?
That's the tough question.
Yeah.
No easy answer.
Right.
I think it's about understanding the character's essence, those defining traits, the motivations, the values.
So even if things change, those core elements should stay the same.
Yes, those are crucial.
Okay.
If those are messed with.
Yeah.
It's not a reimagining, it's a whole new character.
It's like a musical cover.
Oh, yeah.
You can change the style, but the melody, the essence of the song should stay.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's honoring the original while bringing something new.
And the source material matters too, right?
Absolutely.
Some characters are more defined than others.
Exactly. A character from a detailed novel might have more limitations than one from a comic book.
Right. So we need to be sensitive to that source material.
Yes.
To the creator's intentions.
But also recognizing that art evolves.
Right. It's a delicate balance.
And there will always be debate.
Yeah.
It's a gut feeling.
Right.
Whether it feels true to the original.
And we have to remember, art is always talking to its audience.
Of course.
How we see these characters is influenced by our own lives, our culture, the times we live in.
That's so important.
Yeah.
There's no one right interpretation.
Right.
Every generation brings its own perspective.
So even if a recasting doesn't work for us, it might speak to someone else.
Exactly. That's the beauty of art. It's a conversation connecting us across time.
So to wrap up,
Yeah.
why should we embrace new interpretations?
The source argues for the power of recasting, to make stories fresh, inclusive, resonant.
It's seeing these characters as more than just images.
Right.
They can evolve and surprise us.
Embracing that stories are dynamic.
Yeah.
They belong to all of us.
Right.
And our engagement keeps them alive.
So keep thinking about recasting.
Challenge your assumptions.
Be open to new interpretations.
They might make you appreciate these characters even more.
And maybe you'll come up with your own casting choices.
Yeah.
For the next generation.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep those great ideas coming.
We'll be here.